Welcome to the Honest Dog Breeder Podcast with me, your host, Julie Swan, where each week we dive in to discuss all things dog breeding so you can build a breeding business you love, producing dogs that fulfill their owners' dreams. I believe you can have an honest dog breeding program that also pays the bills. So throw those pods in your ears while you're cleaning kennels. I'd love to join you. Guys are in for a treat today. Today we have Kerry Howell of Kerry Howell Photography. I love that Howell. Kerry, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today. It's so nice to have you. And you are a brilliant photographer and you've photographed what, thousands of dogs at this point?
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to talk to you. I love everything that you teach. So I'm here just to talk about all things photography with you so I can help you and all the other dog breeders out there have beautiful photos.
It's going to be so nice because it is quite the pain point for breeders. This photography thing, they're always gross, they're always sticky, and that's always 8 o'clock at night when somebody wants a photo. So
Yes.
today we're going to talk about some of the mistakes breeders make with photos and just people in general taking dog photos. And but anyway, let's hear a little bit about you. How did you get started in dog photography?
Sure. So I was a professional, or I still am a professional photographer. I started in real estate.
Mhm.
So I photograph houses and I was always working with business professionals. And then I adopted a dog. His name's Papaya. And I just started taking photos of him all the time. Like I couldn't take my camera out of my hands because I just wanted to capture him. And I was like, wow, this is fun to do. And it brought so much more joy than taking photos of someone's house. So I just really wanted to just start taking dog photos for people. And I actually volunteered at a local shelter. And that was the best practice ever because all I wanted to do was take photos of dogs. So I just went in there and just asked, like, can I take some photos? And they're like, totally. So once a week, I took their dog photos, and it was the best practice because these shelter dogs, they're not trained. They don't know sit very well or at all. So they're kind of crazy. But it was really nice just to be around the dogs and just to kind of figure out, okay, how do I photograph these animals
Yeah.
so they can get adopted? And how can I showcase their personality, which was really important for the shelter. Because that's really what you're selling too. It's their personality to see what kind of like lifestyle and what family they'll fit in with. So I started doing that. And then while I was practicing on those dogs, I was growing my dog photography business too. So I could take photos for families with their dogs because it's just so nice to get a good photo and like put it on the wall, and just looking at it just makes you really happy. So why I love to do it.
It is such a big difference too when you have a well taken photo on your wall. I think I remember I had this picture of my daughter and she had been like eating toothpaste at 18 months old, like in my bathroom. And like I did frame that and then later realized that I have a picture of like my shower on my wall and it was weird.
I
Yeah.
think that could work in your bathroom, but like nowhere else.
Where else? Yeah. So I'm guilty of making all these mistakes myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Well, that's great. So, what are some of the things? How are you capturing some of that personality on these? Like, how do you capture personality in a still photo?
Yeah, so I feel like with the shelter dogs, I just wanted to let them be them. So I think the pose shots they're really not that great. Everyone, especially too, when someone wants their photo picture taken of their dog, they are like, okay, sit, look at the camera. But that's really not my style. I like to get more of the candids. So what we would do at the shelter, we would take the dogs for a walk. So there would be like the volunteer dog walker, and her job was just to walk with the dog, and I'd either get behind or in front of the dog and just get them while they're walking, or get them. I would have like treats with me or a squeaker toy. So when I would squeak it at the right moment, they would look at me and they'd look all happy and excited.
Yeah.
Or when you take the treat out, you know what face they make. They get all excited or they turn their head. So I just kind of, though, to let them just be dogs and let them just like be themselves and just walk. And that's pretty much the best advice ever, is to just be patient and let them be themselves.
Let them be themselves. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's true too, because you do think like, how many times have you got that photo of you where you like have that forced smile and it's just
Right.
awkward and it just looks very posed.
Right. When you go 1, 2, 3, smile, it's
Yeah.
like everyone's like, ugh. But if you're naturally smiling, or if you say something funny, or if you're in the moment, those are the best kind of photos. And
Mhm.
you don't need the dog looking directly at the camera every time, especially to sell them or to get them adopted. Like they can be looking off to the side and have a goofy face or a happy face. Or if they are like a more shy dog, you should definitely capture that too. You don't have to make every dog look happy and excited. If they're
Yeah.
just shy and just kind of grumpy dogs, just photograph them like they are, because maybe someone else has that similar kind of personality. So I
Yeah.
think you should just capture them because someone will love them for who they are. So let's capture them for who they actually are.
That makes a lot of sense. I know. I have a grumpy old cowboy friend who would do very well with a grumpy dog.
Exactly. Yeah. Grumpy
People
people
want a
don't want a
happy
super
dog.
excited, happy dog. Like, yeah.
That makes sense. So that's good. That's good. Do you find any, I know that the shelter's using some of your photos. Do you find that any convert better? Like, is there anything?
I do hear feedback saying that after I do their photo shoots that they definitely do get adopted faster. And they're going to the right family, which is so important, especially with your dog breeds. Like you want your dogs to go to the right family and to fit that lifestyle and the personality. And I do think the professional photos capture those details and just the moments. And when I say professional, like you can do this yourself and you can capture their personality with your phone. You just have to be patient and wait for it and to just show who they really are. So they can be like bought. And that's really the whole goal of all of this, too, is to portray them in the best possible way to sell them. And then you make your clients really happy. So,
Exactly. And I like that you're stressing too that you're capturing the personality that's authentic to the dog. I
yeah.
think you always think back to those like I don't know if it's the Humane Society commercials or whatever, but they always have like that like dog that's all slumped over in the back of the
Everyone's crying by the end
crate.
of the commercial.
Yes, exactly. It's like it always reminds me of like the pictures of the kids like in Ethiopia and they like have flies landing on them. I'm like, who is not helping the kid? Why are we taking photos of this? Let's help these kids.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think too, you just have to think about how is the person going to feel when they look at this photo. So
Yeah.
if they're looking at the poor dog who's stranded, it's yes, I mean it could be a marketing tactic to pull on heartstrings, but maybe we could convey a different emotion like, oh, they look so happy, let me like buy them, or oh, they look so grumpy and sad, let me adopt them. But we should try and photograph them in their best light.
I agree.
So
I think it just I think it's a service and a respect to the dog to show them.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and we do have all the resources to make our photo look like we want it to make. So, like, we don't have to make the poor dog look all sad and stranded. We have the resources to make them have the background be
Yeah.
nice and make
Yeah.
the puppy himself look clean and presentable and good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we definitely do. So, speaking of having the dogs be clean, I know you've seen quite a few things that are unfortunate in photos, especially breeders were just as guilty as everyone else. But you want to share some of the I don't know the faux pas people are making with their
Yeah, I think like first off, the one of the most important things you could do is just make sure your dogs are clean. It's kind of like if you were selling dishware, you wouldn't have dirty dishes. You wouldn't take a picture of them in the sink all dirty. You would take a picture of them clean and shiny. So
right.
just I would make sure the dogs are clean because again, that's something we can control. So before you take any pictures of them, get them clean and make sure their pen is clean. Because when I go into the shelters, I know how hard it is to have the pen clean, but we don't have to shoot at the mess. We can find a background that is not messy. And I think you just have to be very aware of that we want to look very professional and that we're like selling valuable puppies. So I think you should just take the time to clean the puppies, clean the
Yeah.
dog, but just take the time and then, and yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's important.
It'll be worth it in the end because it's worth the extra effort because I think the impression is too when you have that dirty photo, it's like, well, if they're dirty and you're taking photos of them, how dirty are they all the time? You know,
Right.
you would assume that their photos are in their best state. So how bad is it?
Right. And I think the photo shows not just the puppies, but how you run your business. So it's like a direct correlation between you and the puppies. And they want to see, oh, they're being well taken care of. I trust that if I give them my money, I'll get a healthy dog.
Yeah.
So you definitely should clean them. And then even clean blankets. Like
Mhm.
it goes again with what you were saying about photographing them in the best light. You don't want them to have a bunch of dirty blankets and chewed up dog beds because that doesn't give a good impression.
Mhm.
Just break out the clean blankets for the photo shoots.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
it's just like a house photo shoot. You're not going to photograph it with dirty old blankets on the bed. You're going to bring out the white bedspread just for the photos that no one ever uses.
Right.
So just have your blankets that are photo shoot, and then afterwards just wash them, and that'll just go a long way. And even the shelters do that. They do the same thing. They have the nice blankets and the nice toys for the photo shoots. So it's very
Nice
important.
to hear that we're not the only ones. Yeah. I always have like, I always try to get like a really cute, they have like those sort of vintagey looking toys.
Yes,
They sort of play into my hunting dogs and like this old school way of just being
exactly.
outside with the dogs. And I do, but they're off white. And of course, with my dogs, that's never going to last. So,
Well, maybe just buy like a duck that's green, like all green. That's a good point. Don't buy the white toys. Don't buy the white rope. Like buy a blue rope or
something
buy
complements the dogs. Yes.
exactly. Especially to like showing their personality, the toys will be great. So if they love to play all the time, I think having the tennis balls really help. And subconsciously, people will put two and two together that like, oh, they love to play with their ball.
Hmm.
And like, I don't know, like the hunting dogs, like you said, get them like a duck toy. I think that would be really cute to like have that in their mouth to show
It
they
is.
like.
He'll carry them all around. And if you don't get them a toy, they'll carry around a dirty sock. So it is much
Oh,
better
I
to.
know that. I save old socks like with holes on purpose for my dogs. Really stopped buying a lot of dog toys. They like socks
Yeah,
the
just tie them
most.
in a knot and it's a fun toy. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, they play tug of war with them too.
This is good. I think I have some holes in my socks I can use this for.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
other than the background and having clean puppies, what are some other things that you see that kind of ruins photos?
I think you need really good lighting.
Mm.
And you don't need any kind of professional setup whatsoever. I don't use professional lighting and I'm a professional photographer. I
Wait,
think
when you
natural.
say professional lighting, you mean like the big.
Yeah, no, I don't have the setup with at all. Like no lighting. There's no like I'm not big into that, especially with dogs because dogs move around so much and you only have this very specific little spot to shoot with the direct light. Like I don't I don't worry about stuff like that at all. Like even right now I'm sitting in my bedroom with no lights on and like I found the sunniest spot in my house just because I like natural light
Yeah,
and I hate turning lights on. So for like photo sake.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you're taking photos or I see other people take photos, if you take them at night, that's the worst idea ever. So wait until daylight. The
Yeah.
best possible lighting would be during the day. Um, Shade is the best. Sometimes it's not possible, but you don't want to have all squinty dogs in the sunlight.
That's true.
Um, you don't want to shoot directly at the sunlight either, because then you get those like harsh sunspots and things like that.
Like you have that weird guy in the interview where he can't show his face. Yeah. Or no, you're the
Yeah.
guy with the background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Silhouette. Yeah.
So yeah, I say go outside. And if you can't go outside, stay inside. But any kind of light coming in, like right now, my windows are in front of me and this light is shining on me. That's the best. Don't
Yeah.
ever shoot directly at a window. You'll get weird halos around your dogs. They'll be
Yeah.
like hazy. And
Mm.
that ties into the quality thing. Like you don't have to have the best, like composed photo. I don't think. I think what's important is the lighting because no one's going to want a hazy picture. A blurry picture is bad too. And you need good light so the dog isn't blurry. So
Right.
it kind of all stems from good light.
Yeah. So, and
So
why does that matter with the good lighting for the blurriness?
so dogs move really fast, as we know, like they don't sit still a lot. So if we have more light coming in, then they'll be less blurry because the shot can be taken really quickly. Our phones are really good that they adapt so quickly to the light. I know my iPhone, if it's dark out and you take the photo, it like keeps the shot going for like 2 seconds. I don't know if taken photos at night. So can you imagine if you had to sit there for 2 seconds while the dog's moving,
Yeah.
he's not going to be in focus. He's going to be blurry. So I say don't take any photos at night. Like if someone requests a photo of your dog, I honestly would probably say just wait until morning or give them the photo. Well, I think it's weird. It's your first impression. So if you give them a bad photo, I don't know if that's a good idea. Even some of my clients, the real estate clients, want photos like right after the shoot. They want them unedited. And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, give me the edited photos later. And I'm like, no. Like, I think you should put your best foot forward always. So just take photos in the daylight. I can't harp on that.
You make a really good point too, because it is a first impression. And if
Yeah,
those people, especially with real estate, you have a huge sale on the line and not
right.
having things how you want them. And I think about that too. Like people don't want to see, I don't know, they don't want to see, puppies are gross. Moms are gross after they have puppy. It's just, it makes a mess. And why everybody sells white whelping boxes, I'm not sure whose great idea was that. I don't know. But
Yeah.
they always look, they look dirty. You have to wipe them down all the time. And yeah, so I agree with you. Like those, it never goes over well. So I love your idea of even just having like a fresh blanket that's clean and ready to go. That's a decent background, or maybe a giant blanket because sometimes you just need to grab a corner that's clean and
Exactly. Exactly. Even too, when you're photographing them, have them in like a little pen too, because it's so hard when they run. If you give them the whole yard to take photos in, you're going to run around
Mhm.
everywhere. But if you put them in a little pen and you kind of have them all where they need to be in the shot, it'll
Yeah.
be so much easier for you. Same thing when you're inside, put them in the pen near the window and take the
Ah,
photo. And then you only need a small space for the background too. So, but
how are you
backgrounds,
cleaning up some of those? Yeah. Like how do you do that with the pens? What do you use as a background?
um, sometimes Hmm. Sometimes you can drape the blanket around the pen, so that really creates your backdrop actually too. So if you put the big fuzzy blanket draped around it, then that will be the background. And that works great too when you have darker dogs. Like if you do have black dogs, I know that they're hard to photograph. If you have a white blankets, I know they get dirty, but if your dogs are clean, the blankets will stay clean. And have the white blanket, and the black dog will really pop because you really need some contrast there. So that's really important. When you're looking at your background, think of the colors of the dogs and then think of the emotion that that's created when you look at it. So when you look at a soft, fuzzy blanket, you think, oh, I just want to cuddle them. I want them in my life. Um, if you're outside and there's a chain link fence, think about what that portrays. Like, do they look like guard dogs? Do they look scary, especially if they're black dogs? Is it making them look even scarier and not
Yeah.
like, so
Almost like you need to be behind a fence. Like it to me, I don't, do you find that chain link just does not photograph well?
it doesn't. I
Oh,
feel like if you're selling a breed that's guard dogs, that's fine. Do chain link all day. But any other dog, I don't think it gives a good look. It kind of looks like they're in a prison too. They're in doggy jail. And I feel like that does not a good look on you as a breeder. You don't want to look like you chain your dogs up in a chain link fence and you just like let them like fend for themselves. I think people gain a lot from your photos and they see how you take care of your animals and if
yeah.
you care about them. And that's really important for you to convey as a business owner that you really do care about your dogs and you care they go to the right home.
Yeah, exactly. And it is so true. And I do find too that even the chain link, it almost messes with my eyes. I feel like it hits so many different, the lighting hits it so different in so many places. It
Yeah,
just,
it's distracting.
it is,
And
it's
you
very,
just want the focus on the dog.
hmm. Yeah, exactly. So that makes a lot of sense. So That's perfect. So yeah, so the background, getting the lighting right, and then dirty toys. Let's not do dirty toys or shredded toys. Shredded,
No.
yeah, like the really beat up collar that's kind of broken. That's a no-no.
Yeah, I would say for photo shoot day, give them the nice collar too.
Mhm.
Like, don't do because we know how dirty collars get. So let's do the nice collars and let's do the nice harnesses. And if you are on a walk with the dog taking the photos, make sure it's the nice leash. So, and two, back to black dogs. Um, you can put a cute jacket on them. I mean, I know if you're in a warm climate, it might
Mhm.
look funny. But it really, I think you just need to figure out ways to break up the blackness and the darkness and make them look more cute and approachable. So I have a black dog, so I know all these tips. Right now he's been rocking his plaid jacket. It's red, so it really makes him pop.
That's so cute for the winter too.
Yeah, yeah. And then he's in the snow too now because I'm near Boston. So his photographs are my favorite in the winter because we have the white contrast of the fresh snow and we have his red jacket. So it really, really helps to make him look really cute and adorable. So
That's perfect. You could sell them over and over, but he's yours. So there you go.
yeah, I know. Yeah, no one can have him. Sorry.
All right. So you also have your own, you do pet photography for people. So yes, you volunteer at the shelter, but people can hire you, which is awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about how that process works and maybe when that's an appropriate move for people?
Yeah. So usually I work with people who own dogs and they want pictures of their dogs on their walls and all the memories and social media. But then I also do work with business owners that they want to sell their products. So my dog Papaya, he loves cheese chews. So it's like so it's so nice to like take photographs of these products for the dog businesses. And I think it's such a good idea to get this done, whether you are a business owner or a regular person with your dog, because it just they look so good and they look so crisp and clear. And so, specifically for dog breeders, too, if you wanted to get professional photos done, I
Mhm.
think you just find a photographer like me or someone else who specializes in just dog photography. So, everyone who contacts me, I'm very clear on what I do and what I don't do. So, if they call me and want horse photos, I say that's not what I do. You should find a horse photographer. So I think it's so important when you're hiring someone, just make sure they are a dog photographer and they know how to work specifically with dogs because their personality is much different than a horse, say. So when someone contacts me, I see what their goals are. So if they're, what is the point of getting the photos done? Like, do you want them for your memories or are you trying to show the world that you're a business owner and you're professional and you value your work?
Yeah.
So if you're a dog breeder, make it clear to the photographer that you really want what your goals are with the shoot, which would probably be what I just said, that you want to show your professional, your branding, you want to be on point, and you want to use these on your website. I think where you want to use them too is important to say because if you're using them on your website, you kind of want to know all the header photos that you want. Like photos of yourself are so important too, not just your dogs. Because you're not just, again, selling your dogs, you're selling your business and your profession and yourself. So get good photos of yourself. So that's what I would ask as well. Like, what
Yeah.
is the purpose? Because we should really get some shots of you too. So you can throw that on up there.
Well, I was just thinking with, a lot of breeders are hesitant to put themselves on their website, and I had been that way for a while. But what I realized is it is a personal thing buying a dog. You're adding a new family member. And by having yourself on there, at least people are like, oh, you're real. Like they just remember that and it has that level of professionalism, but at the same time, approachability. I remember like people didn't know to expect that like for a while there I looked like 14. It was really awkward. People like, does she even know what she's doing?
Yeah.
But if they had seen my picture ahead of time, it wouldn't have been a big deal. They would have just expected everything.
I think too, as a person who owns two dogs and I found my dogs on the internet, I want to know that they're coming from a real person and that you're reputable. Because so many dog breeders say, oh, I have puppies to sell, but they're not even real and they steal your money. So I feel like you need to show, no, look, I'm real. I care. And you're not just selling the dogs, you're selling yourself. And I've learned that from my own photography business. People aren't just buying my photos, they're buying my service, they're buying me.
Yeah.
And they want to know that they're for the puppies, like they want to know the breeders are real people. And like, I'm not just going to give my money to any random stranger on the internet. I need to know, who are you? Or what if you're this big corporation company? Like, I'd rather give and support the small businesses and the breeders. And I want to see a face and I want to know you're real. And I don't want to see a selfie in your dirty kitchen. I want to see like with like a dogs behind you. Like I want to see you looking professional. And you can be with your dogs and stuff, but just like again, the
Mhm.
photos of yourself are the same things I would say about your dogs. Make sure the lighting's good and the background isn't messy, and you'll be fine. Um, so take photos of yourself and the dogs if you're doing a professional photo shoot. And then my process is when you show up on photo shoot day,
Mhm.
my energy is just calm, but I'm happy and excited. And I think that dogs and the owners really we
Mhm.
feed off of each other's energy. So when you're talking to a photographer that you want to hire, make sure the personality is the type that you feel comfortable with, and that you think your dog will be comfortable with. And then when we first show up, I let the dog smell me. Like even before I take the camera out, I'm just like, hey, how are you? And I greet myself. I love how I talk to the dog like it's a person, like, how are you? But I really do. That's how I greet them and I let them smell me and I'll get on their level because when I am shooting, I am like lower to the ground and on eye level with the dog. And that's really important. And I let them be silly and crazy and get all their energy. And I'm just patient with them and they will settle down. I know as breeders and as the owners of the dog, sometimes they start getting anxious or upset at their dog, like, settle down, we have to take photos. But if we all just wait it out, it's not going to take that long. And rushing them is not going to make them go faster. It's like rushing our kids. Does it ever really go well when we yell at them to like to put their shoes on? No, they're going to probably go the same pace.
Yeah.
So we're going to let the dogs do their thing. And then I'll start photographing. And again, I like doing the candids, capturing the personality, and then just letting them be.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I'll get all the good shots that you need and then some. And then I will deliver them all. And that usually that's that. And then you can do with them however you want. Also, it's good to tell a photographer if they're for a website or if they're
Yeah.
for like brochures or if they're for
Mm.
like magazine, because you do need different sizing and things like that. So just tell all that to your photographer.
Yeah. To be
And
able
they'll
to
know.
crop it down to the right dimensions for what you're using.
Yeah.
Those
Because
things.
if you want a family photo above your mantle, you're like envisioning this like 11 by 14 or 16 by 20 photo. That's a lot different than having a header for your Facebook that you want for your breeding Facebook page. That's
Right.
much different dimensions. So I think it's just so important to know exactly what you want. And when you take your photo, if you take your photos yourself, kind of have that in the back of your head too. Like, what am I using these for exactly? Or if you are, you probably have on your website, whatever you upload your photos to, you probably know they're always going to be the same size. So you'll know eventually what to crop and what'll like
Yeah.
what you need to get in your frame.
Yeah. I will say that is a huge difference in professionalism on websites too, is
Yeah.
when your photos have consistency in dimensions,
Yeah.
on a gallery of like squares and rectangles, and it's just a mess. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it simple. No, I like everything that you do, like just keep it simple visually and it'll be really good. Your customer will really appreciate that. And it can differentiate you so much from your competitors. And
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah.
Especially if your competitor doesn't use high quality photos, you're already standing out.
Right. It's
Yeah.
so true. It's so true. And it's probably something you could do, once every year or two, right? Like this doesn't need to be done all the time.
No, no, no. I think, especially photos of you, that doesn't have to be done every year unless you drastically change. But I think you can get around a long time out of it, and you can use it on your social media too. And um, I would just say all of your website should probably be very professional photos. Social media is different. Not everyone has to be professional because you want to show you're a real person. But your website is really important to have those high quality photos because that's your first impression. And you want to show that you're a real professional business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, it's so great. And so, and you were so generous. You made us a PDF download that has, you want to explain kind of what's on it?
Yeah. So I have this download that you can see information on how to take professional looking photos with your cell phone. So I think that'll be super helpful. It'll just go over in detail kind of what we talked about today and bullet points so you can remember when you're shooting, okay, lighting is important, background's important,
Yes.
down on their eye level is important. So it's just bulleted out for reminders when you do take the photos. And then how to pick a professional photographer is also a download I have for you because
Okay.
I do think it's important. Everything that I wrote down, you really should just ask and feel comfortable with your photographer because it is an investment. So you want to make sure you're spending your money on the right person,
Mhm.
and you'll be able to find them if you just look at the info.
Oh, that's such good stuff too. Because it's really hard when you're like, oh, I need a professional photograph. And then you're just like, where do I start? And I think that's
Right.
such a great place is to have that list.
And so many people ask their friends and family or post on Facebook and they say,
Mhm.
I need a photographer. And they're like, oh, my wedding photographer is great. Oh, my family photographer is amazing. And it's like, cool, but that's not what we're doing. We're not photographing a baby and we're not photographing a kid. And I guess kids and dogs can kind of almost be the same because they're both really fast and they both like don't sit still. But I just say, find a professional dog photographer.
Mhm.
Um, and you can find it on the internet and find the right person. But asking friends and family is not always the best advice. Just like asking friends and family about business advice is not doesn't always go well. Like they should ask you if they have dog breeder questions. They shouldn't ask their family, what should I do in my business? Because they don't have a business. So
Here's
talk to the professionals and you'll be in good hands.
That makes sense. Yeah, stick to the professionals and know when to use it. So I think it's so smart too, because I do agree you need a professional photographer for some of the photos on your website for sure, and for
Yeah.
some of your more professional, material for branding. But being able to take your puppy photos for buyers by yourself with your iPhone is a lifesaver because I never get out my big camera. I always am on my I don't think I've sold a dog with a big photo, like a regular big camera, in probably 8 years.
Yeah.
It's all been
The
I.
big cameras are difficult to use. I mean, I'm good at it because I use it every single day. But as you know, it's like you have to get it out of the camera bag, clean the lens, get the settings all right. Like you can't just throw it in manual mode a lot of times. And if you do, they come out blurry. So the iPhone, or I have the iPhone, so that's why I always refer to it. But the iPhone really takes really good, quick photos. Again, if you have the right light. Um, and if you just have the right tips and tricks that I have, like having the treats ready and the toys and knowing when to squeak the squeaker. And it saves you so much time. Like it's so nice to take your own photos so you don't have to call someone, make an appointment, wait for them, edit them. Just like take the photos with a little bit of planning in your own personal time. You can do it.
Yes, I love that. I believe it. So I'm excited. So I'll put the link to those two PDFs so people can jump on and get those. So, well, thank you so much for taking the time, Carrie. I'm so excited to dive into the masterclass where we're going to talk about all your tips and tricks for getting all these things right in our photos. But
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy to talk to you. And I love everything that you do. So keep
thanks.
on keep on doing it.
Keep on giving the good fight.
Yes.